I say, whoa now, y'all should minds and them files shot and reporting on the Bamboozled Again News Network. Haven't dropped in a few days. Ain't nothing going on but the rent. Today is administrative reports day, so I got some free time because I did all my reports that are due today, Friday. Yeah, because I like to do my homework in school. Yeah, some things change, but some things remain the same. Really don't have anything really super spectacular to talk about. Nothing really thought-provoking other than, throughout my daily life, the epiphanies I've come to, right? Um, Sometimes I feel like in my just general life with the job that I have, sometimes I feel like I'm doing people a great disservice. It's not that I can't meet people where they at, because typically I've been where someone's at in the mental health, substance abuse field. Um, I've been to the funny farm a couple times, you know what I mean? Years of, drug abuse and everything that come along with that, bad decision making, impulsivity, not handling responsibilities, justification, so on and so forth, right? And I'm going to segue this because it highlighted something I was thinking about, right? Because I want to help, you know what I'm saying? But of course you can't help nobody who don't want help, really. Or you can't tell the help how to help you. And yeah, I can help you so long as you're willing to want to help yourself, right? And a lot of times that goes into, personal responsibility, so on and so forth. So I caught one of these, I guess, a reel on my Facebook jump, and the guy was talking about when you heal or in the process of healing, it seemed like the mass majority of people become unattractive to you. Not even opposite sex wise or anything like that, but just even like certain things like societally or group wise and all that. And I was like, yeah, that really resonated with me, you feel me? And I can get along, I can be cordial and all that. But in my personal life, there's not a whole lot of pockets of society or individuals that I choose to be around because it's not uplifting to my soul. I'm not learning anything from these people other than maybe what not to do or how real it is in the battlefield. And the mental health that's going undiagnosed in people's, how would I word it? The beliefs that they have in their mind in a general sense, right? Um, let's like check it out, right? So what was that yesterday? Had a brother come in, right? Now he has a certain spiritual understanding, but like you can read the word, but you need the Holy Spirit to reveal the word to you and wisdom how to apply it, right? So he was talking about him and his wives. Now, mind you, this man, and there's no knock on it, mind you, this man lives in subsidized housing. So he's talking about his wives. I've never heard of a man have multiple wives living essentially in the projects. And I knew some of the background story, but this particular day, I feel like entertaining the chicanery, right? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So whereas though my man get to talk about his wife, all of his wives, he had 3, 4 wives, but ain't none of them acting right. So I'm like, cuz, if you got 3, 4 wives, ain't none of them acting right, you ain't got no wives. What is you talking about, cuz? You know what I'm saying? So he like, they don't want a righteous man and whoop de whoop de woo, and they want to go out there and do them and da da da. So you got 4 wives, according to you, in your mind. Excuse me, y'all. But all your wives are actively dealing with other dudes and got kids by them, and you know this, but you're saying they're your wives. Huh? And he was like, yeah, because they were prophesied unto me and da da da. I said, how's all that working out for you? Then he was like, well, you got to teach them. You can only teach people who want to be taught. You can only lead people who want to be led. But you can't do it out of coercion, intimidation, manipulation. Because what you're saying you want, which is submission, isn't that if you got to force somebody to do it. Like the Most High is the Most High. He's the most powerful. But he don't force you to follow him or to live the way he say live. He actually wants you to do that out of adoration. That's where I'm at with it. On this phase of the journey that I'm at. Yes, would I like for him to bless me in a certain area? Yeah, of course. But now I've gotten into this space where I want to serve the Most High, live the way he said live by the word and not the preacher man, right? Because I want to make him smile. Because y'all ever been with somebody, right? And you're just captivated with them. their being, their personality, their character. You know what I'm saying? Anything outside of that is a luxury. But you're just enamored with them, who they are, what they stand for, how they carry themselves, how they operate. That's where I'm at with it, right? But it seemed like on this path of healing, it's like I can't relate to people. Case in point, right? I was thinking about this the other night. Well, I've had quote unquote traumatic experience, right? Let's say, a significant other passing away from cancer, you feel me? And whereas though I was thinking about it last night, now I've healed from, I've moved on, right? So the emotional attachment of that memory doesn't hold me, right? Now I remember how it felt, but I don't remember the feeling, if that make any sense. What I'm trying to say is the version of myself that experienced that no longer exists. Because, like, the word said, if any man be in Christ, he a new creation. So this version of me didn't experience that, which was so vexing at the time, even though I have a memory of how it hurt. But it doesn't hurt me now. You know what I'm saying? So I've been able to flow and move on. And how necessary healing is. But healing is hard work. And it's work that you don't get credit for. The only credit you'll get is you'll see the self-improvement. But you won't get a pat on the back for it. You won't get a pay. Now, maybe later on in delayed gratification. For years, my journey seemed mysterious and ain't none of it make no sense. But now looking back on it, I could see what the Most High was doing. He was dealing with my character. He was getting me out of my own will and my own time frames. What else? I just deal with stuff better because I'm always dealing with stuff. How do you get stronger unless you lift weights and the weights get heavier? You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't meant to break me. It was actually make me stronger at a time where I believe in mass mental strength is going by the wayside due to the subtle incremental war of attrition that is waged on us every day. That's why I stay knowledgeable of stuff, but I don't give all my energy to, I don't know, let's say potential war in Yemen or the dating culture. I'm knowledgeable of it so I can navigate it, but I don't feed all my energy into it because that's energy that should be diverted or transmuted to maintaining me in a society and a spiritual climate that is hell-bent on slowly eroding away at me. You know what I'm saying? Like today I had to go to the next town over to go to the hospital to get, I guess, registered to take this overdose phone. So when people OD in my county, I can get this call, go to the hospital, meet with them, right? So my coworkers tell me, you got to get a shot. I don't get no shots. No. And it's not even something that I have to, go at it into depth at nauseum about. I know I ain't getting it. They just don't know I ain't getting it yet. But I can guarantee when I leave up out of there, I ain't getting it. So they had, oh, have you been, no. Oh, would you? No. And that's the end of it. And they're like, okay, well, it's not mandatory. Anyway, but because in healing, you'll learn to stand for stuff against all odds. Because here's what happens. If you're by yourself for a while, you become accountable, or at least me, I become accountable to myself. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I go ahead and, let's say they threaten my job or something, when I get by myself and look myself in the mirror, that voice gonna say, yo, you just went out like a smooth chump after all that stuff you talk, yo. You know what I'm saying? Then that voice is gonna get louder. Then next thing you know, I'll be back drinking. That's why, especially now, because maybe back in the day, or maybe when people were more human, you could compromise or understand where people come from. Them days over with. It's my way or the highway. Because anything that's not my way, as far as, the Most High giving me revelation, is meant to hinder progress at the very least, which is spiritual growth. The word talk about, patience producing endurance. I might got them interchanged. And then it says a few more things, and at the end of that, you'll be complete, lacking nothing. So long as I don't step off the path, and I'm so self-aware, if I was to do that, I just can't do it haphazardly. I know what I'm doing and do it anyway. I'm scared as I don't know what I'm doing that, because of the long, arduous journey it took just to get to this point. So I was forced to be wise. I was forced to be discerning. You know what I'm saying? Like I talked about that spiritual epigenetic process where my circumstances were so vexing, it naturally triggered a change. You know what I'm talking about? But without the resistance, the hardship, I'd still be a former version of myself who probably can't operate now, or at the very least doesn't have the wisdom he has now, when it seems like the gray area of everything is expanding. Everything's getting so foggy, people can't even tell what the truth is anymore, or even if they want the truth. Instead of wanting the truth, I actually rather listen to a lie coming from someone I like. That's where we at with it now. It's real in the battlefield. So again, back to the brother, right? I'm talking to him, and we're going like, I'm like, bro, you said now he's saying he gotta keep talking to these women and da da da. But I'm like, okay, you can talk to him, right? But have you seen any changed behavior? No, and it's actually getting worse. So how can two walk together unless they're in agreement? You know what I mean? Then he was like, well, he goes in the Old Testament about polygyny and this, that, and the third, and da da da. But I'm like, and I've changed my stance on this. I'm like, how do you practice polygyny in captivity? How? And then I'm like, okay, you just won because you the king, right? So where is the king leading the kingdom? If you got to come up here and ask me, not for help, but for insight about how to go about something, which it is good to seek wise counsel, you know what I mean? But sometimes if it ain't no counsel around, do like David and lead a group and go inquire of the Most High yourself and encourage yourself that way. That's typically what happened to me. Typically, I don't, for as intellectual as I like to think myself to be, I haven't figured out nothing. Eventually, I pray about it. I do what I can do during the daily day, and it dawns on me how to handle it. And sometimes that dawning is, lead alone. Or, go about it this way. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, I get more done by doing less. You know what I'm saying? It's a very paradoxical thing. But letting the game come to me, you know what I'm saying? Instead of being on the basketball court and I'm forcing my jumper or, what I'm trying to do, whatever the defense is playing, adjust your offense to how the defense is playing. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, the goal is not to, let's say, score 30. The goal is to win the game. So I'd rather, this was on the scene on White Men Can't Jump. He said, you rather score a whole lot and look bad. No, you rather score a whole lot and lose than win and look bad. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about I can have average stats as long as I'm on the winning team. That's all that matters. What good is this Herculean effort in a losing cause? You know what I'm saying? We're a lot of time, and that applies to myself as well. Again, in mindfulness and revelation, a lot of times we can put forth a good, valiant effort in the wrong direction. Because there are ways that seem right to a mind, but in the end lead to destruction. You know what I'm saying? So it seemed right this man want to lead these women who are, of the world and bring them into the fold. It's not wise. And I'm like, bro, how far are you getting personally with this? What kind of king allows anybody to stop his campaign? Eventually, your kingdom falls apart. You know what I'm talking about? It's amazing, bro. Had another brother of mine, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, right? Now, he don't know I know this, but he's been shucking and jiving, using, right? So, of course, your mental isn't going to be where it needs to be because now it's influenced by that stronghold that has been reborn in you, right? So we were talking about somebody else, and then he talks about essentially soliciting prostitution, right? And I said, hold up, time out. With your mental health and you kind of being, in flux about what's the next step to take to live and treatment and so on and so forth, they say that if a mind doesn't have purpose, he'll use pleasure to escape, right? So I'm like, with all you got going on, you thinking about shelling out $10 to buy somebody's body part, on top of all the stuff you got going on. What man that value himself do that, Name me one man who has tricked his way to the top. Now, we can look online and see a plethora of brothers who've gotten to the zenith of their field, craft, or whatever, and their campaign, kingdom fell apart because of the very thing you talking about. And then it's not like we talking, the IG model here. We're talking about a woman, and this is just, the schematics of it. We're talking about a woman who is actively using drugs, and you want to pay her $10 for her to essentially put her orifice on you, that let me know you don't value yourself, yo. That tells me you not willing to go through the hardship. You're looking for an out. That's what, and I ain't telling them, but that's probably why you're using drugs. You know what I'm saying? Because you're looking for an out. Ain't no out. Straight through it. Me going straight through stuff with uncertainty. That's how I've it's like you pass a level and then you get a new mental, emotional, spiritual aura component. Now, of course, I acquire the Most High, but anything I gotta face, I meet it. Even if I don't know what I'm gonna do when I get up on it. Like I had the car issue. Initially, I ain't had no 2,500 to fix no car, but I still got to deal with it. So I still went through the process, and the money manifested itself. The child support case, in which, like, I had a plethora of evidence that they never asked me for, but I still got the victory because the other party contradicted themselves in talking. But it didn't look like it was going my way. And then I also think that way I wouldn't have it on my spirit, like, of revealing, like they would have done it to me, but just because they do it to me don't mean I do it to them because I'm held to a higher standard. But I did want to, and within the parameters of a legal court proceeding, I did want to bring forth evidence. But had it went the way I went and brought forth evidence, I'd probably humiliate the other party. Do you want to do that? Not really. Not really. Actually, not at all. I just want them stopped. That's all I want. You stop, I stop. But in the healing and the being very guarded of my progress, my peace, my soul, my spirit, and my mind ain't nothing off limits to protect that, because it was so much work to get to this point. Now I see the value in it. Anything you've had to earn, you cherish it, you value it, you protect it. You know what I'm saying? Now I understand when the older guard in the black delegation would tell me, talk these things about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. And that's why I see now, like, the older black man don't take no stuff off nobody, yeah? Because you don't realize what like, you might see him now with the Cadillac or stuff like that. But what you're not taking into account is the years of work that it took for him 20 years later to be able to buy that Cadillac with 0 miles on it. The various life situations he went through with his children, his wife, and whatever. I'm actually naturally in my regular life, I'm happy-go-lucky, jovial. I'm kind of silly. But at the same time, in duality, I don't be doing no play, because it ain't no time for play. From what I see in the mass, everybody playing, everybody scheming. Somehow or another, everybody think they're this master manipulator. Like the word say, deceivers going out deceiving and they themselves being deceived. But within, I guess, the narcissistic component of their personality type, or whatever you want to call it, they can't perceive. You don't believe them. They come up with the most erroneous fables known to man. And then when you ask simple, direct questions upon inspection, like in a court proceeding, what they say don't hold up. You're just talking. How the word say, the devil, one of his components is being a deceiver, right? So I'm saying this, his traits fall upon the people of the world or those who have chosen him, right? So they got all his traits: being deceptive, presenting themselves as angels of light, but they something else. Using a whole lot of words out to make you forget what you already know. That's why I don't be listening to people like that. You're not going to confuse me with a whole bunch of nothing in words when I know this to be true, because it's proven itself to be true. Now, who are you to come along and get me to question something I know to be true? Who is you again, and who sent you? But then when they ask you what you believe, and you're able to articulate that simply, plainly, no matter who you're talking to, then they start talking about stuff in left field, or they make personal attacks. Again, not that I care, because I love me now, so I don't care what you think. Outside of my own conscience, like, oh, you did that wrong, or you shouldn't. Then, yeah, but in the grand scheme, and that's not egotistical or what they call it, toxic masculinity and all that. Ain't none of that. That's the fact I value me. Here's what I discovered and value myself. I don't let people, I don't care what their title is, insult my intelligence. I don't let nobody play with my time. You know what I'm saying? And I can be understanding and all that. But it's not that I'm antisocial. I'm just anti this society. I was thinking about this too as well with the brothers that go overseas and look for women, and it's not even so much that they dislike the women here versus, I don't know, Asia or South or wherever they be going at, Africa, whatever. Whether they can quantify it or not, they disagree with the culture. They disagree with the culture that is anti-family. But then you have a family court. They disagree now with, let's say, I don't know, harlotry, you know what I'm saying, in choosing a wife or whatever the case may be. They're disagreeing with, the feminism. That's what they're disagreeing with it. That's what they're going to find. Femininity, a woman who still honors, that's what they're looking for. It's not even so much they like, a lighter skinned woman or whatever the case may be. That's why brothers are, what they call them, going their own way, because this society offers them nothing but fool's gold. And typically you'll get trapped up in stuff like, I don't know, when the sisters, well, not the sisters. Here's what I was thinking about too, right? I'm all over the place. It's amazing how they do the bait and flip. Like during Sir Mix-a-Lot time, when the sisters was chug, and they still is. When the sisters was chugger and everybody else on earth and had big lips, they would kind of mock them. Now, fast forward, 30 some odd years, now the white women and other types of women are now getting chug and getting lip injections, while they're getting black women more so, I'm saying, to mutilate themselves. That's just like black women buying hair when they already got hair in their head. You know what I'm saying, me? For this European idea of beauty, right? And then the same people that market that to you try and look like you. No different than they try to shame brothers on the stand on the plantation or accepting bad treatment from whoever, the system, other males, other females. Don't make no difference. Your kid don't make no difference, right? So they say the black man here in America ain't nothing, right? But as soon as the black man step foot off this soil, he's the most sought after man on earth. Figuring you got to be a different type Negro if you escape the American Babylonian plantation, right? You got, let's say, I'm just being honest, you got sisters who, and I don't want to sound like Kevin Samuels, but let's say, they about the same size as an offensive lineman and got as many kids as an offensive lineman on the line of scrimmage, right? And they talk the most yin-yang. They're the most entitled. You know what I'm saying? Again, everything here is inverted. You know what I'm saying? But these same sisters, or even say, I don't know, the badder type black women, because of the stereotype or the image they presented to the world, they have a vested interest in staying in Babylon because nobody else on earth is looking to marry, for the most part, an American black woman, from what they've seen online, for what they admit to, and so on and so forth. It's so bad. Now, it's one thing to admit to something in repentance and sorrow. It's another thing to admit to something in pride. Like me admitting to, drinking to the point where I ain't take care of my child, but I said my chest out. This is sad state of affairs. I was thinking last night, I feel like Jeremiah where I'm weeping for the people, but I'm starting to understand. Grant, this is above my pay grade, but the vast majority of us are cooked, especially when the system fall apart. So we're not, like Frederick Douglass said, we're not begging the system for freedom, because that comes with responsibility. As I've gotten free, right? We're actually begging them for a more comfortable enslavement. That's Stockholm syndrome. That's somebody treating me bad. This don't even work in your personal life. Let's say you in a relationship or whatever, right? Vice versa. And the other party treating you bad, and you're trying to convince them and beg them to not do it. How many times has that actually worked? Think about it, y'all. The only thing people respect is distance. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm trying to get through to you, but you won't see it till I'm gone. And I'm going to explain it to you. Not at nauseam. But here's what I'm finna do. And then what I'm doing, then you'll learn. People only learn by the negative, for the most part, the negative consequence of their actions. I was filled with nothing. That's what put me on a path to healing. I got what my hand called for. But here where, let's say, bad financial decision making, public assistance without being held accountable or seeking to course correct, it just reiterate, y'all, it just reinforces said behavior. You know what I'm saying? It's real in the battlefield. It's real, baby. You know, but all in all, I'm kind of tired because, you know, I ain't had nothing to do at work today. So I did some little knicky-knack stuff I could do off my phone, set appointments, contact people since I have my child now. You know what I mean? Just doing, and I'll just leave you on this. Because I do this because I got a fantastic imagination. You know what I'm saying? I want to take the world, I want to change the world and then get to the Most High like this for you. Because you such a great king. I went to war for you. And I just want to get this to you. I'm a divert for a second, right? When I talked to the brother about all this tricking and whatnot, I said, cuz, here's a foregone concept, right? Whatever happened to making the woman want to give it to you? I guarantee if she sell you, you know, herself, right? There's somebody she's giving it to because she want them to have it. You know what I mean? Whatever happened to becoming, you know, such a prestigious individual that people, like the word say, where people give a seedling into thy bosom, because of who you are, the work you put in when nobody's looking, people just want to give you a job. I just want to give you some of this loving. You know what I'm saying? You deserve it. The best things in life are free. Just like the gospel is not to be sold. The disciples gave it to you for free. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm trying to think, because that, I mean, I've had issues with judge, but it's against my religion to do that, right? It just never made no sense to me. But what kind of experience I'm going to have if I have to pay somebody to do it to me, you? That don't make me feel like I had to pay them people to give me their body, you. And if I got paid, and here's my thing, here's another thing I learned. If I have to do something against my principle to get it, it ain't meant for me to have. And I've been waiting so long, or I've learned patience and endurance so much, I'm not budging till I get what I deserve, or what's in alignment with where I'm at with it, my principles and values. That's what being equally yoked is, I believe. Being of someone and y'all got the same values. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily personality or whatever. Y'all got to believe the same stuff. Y'all got to have the same vision. And each one of y'all are a component to facilitating that in each other's lives. You know what I mean? Word up, man. But on that note, because I'll be all over the place, I'll just start freestyling, right? But I'll leave y'all with this note, right? Whatever your situation is, it might be detrimental, you might be coming alive in the drop, whatever. Whatever you can do in practicality on a daily basis, continue to do that. Because if we look at the scriptures, when the Most High gave a breakthrough or set someone on some type of purpose, they were doing menial things or just everyday stuff that had trained them to do something that he had called them to do. A la David, a la Joseph. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the ones who were looked over, you know, don't necessarily fit the bill. But what's my man? Gideon. They're doing seemingly unnoticed or unrecognized, right? Not a whole lot of fanfare. But in doing menial tasks, tending to sheep, you know, gardening or whatever, you know, just taking directives from their natural father. It gave them the skill set and training to be able to do something nobody else could do because they were anointed and called to do that before earth was even in existence. Just continue to do what you do, because I'll do that. I need to be super spectacular. I need to figure out how to get in this multi-million-dollar real estate deal. No, you don't. Continue to do what you handle your business on a daily basis, right? And I'll give the increase. With whatever land you got, plant there. And then I'll give the 30, 60, 100-fold. You ain't got to do it all. Because technically, if you do it all, then you'll start thinking you've done it all. At the end of all this, like right now, I can't take credit for nothing other than being obedient and meeting whatever challenge came down the pipe. That's it. So I can't even gloat with or become puffed up in knowledge. You know what I mean? Because it's not like I gave it to myself. I went through it and then it came to me. You know what I'm talking about? So just keep on keeping on. Don't even worry about Babylon falling. Don't even be worried about tariff apocalypse and all that. Yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah, we don't know when. But trust and believe, when it do happen, you'll be prepared. On that note, I'm signing off, baby. Oh,